Okay, so let's talk about what it means when I say that I am responsible for people. So I am a shaman in this realm at this time, and there are people who fall under my guidance and under my protection and under my accountability for. There are people who need assistance, and because of my role, whatever the different levels of the assistance are, I'm the one who provides that. And this was thrust upon me as a child. This was not something that I chose, which is why I'm the last one of my lineage at this point, because I feel that this is something that you don't completely just thrust upon someone. But that being the case, um, a lot of people come to me. And I thought when I was younger that it was only the people in my family. I was like, and I thought that was a lot. And then I started traveling and realized that it was more people. And so it took me about a decade to really become accustomed to that. Um, the fact that it was more people that I was responsible for, because part of me was like, that's not fair. But I understand the earth and the where the earth was. And this was all before the spiritual awakening. Now that we've had the spiritual awakening, there's a lot more people who are walking into their calling. And I'm hoping to be able to assist someone so that they can be responsible for some of the people that I'm currently responsible for. And I won't have to be responsible for them. But so, what is the difference between what I do and what a medium or a regular psychic does? Most mediums are talking to spirits, not like paranormal honey. Um, Most mediums are talking to spirits, which they're talking to them. You go to like a conference, and in the room, they let all the different spirits come and give you some type of information. The ones that I deal with, the information that I deal with, it's always coming from you up. So it's based on what is happening with you, and it's so I have people. If someone comes to me, I had someone come to me a few years ago, and they had a person who had recently transitioned, and I didn't know this person, right? So the person, someone else that I knew the person. And so as soon as they came to me, that spirit that was trying to communicate with them came to me where I was, the apartment I was in, and everything. And so I was able to, of course, describe the spirit and give them the information about what happened. And then I don't go back and tell that spirit that it's okay for you to just come to me whenever you want to. A lot of mediums are open for the spirits to always come whenever. When I was younger, I used to just have that interaction, but it was literally always someone who had some connection to me of sorts. And I would see the spirits and get information and things of that nature and warnings and things of that nature because I'm also responsible for warnings when things are going to happen. And to a person, I give them the warning, hey, I just had this information come across. You might want to not do this or not do that. Or if people are making decisions, I would get something and they were like, oh, I just prayed about that. But a lot of people who do operate in mediumship on a commercial level constantly, they let every last spirit just enter them or not. And for me, that's spiritual prostitution, just the way I look at it, because there's a lot of work for me to interact with the different spirits, and I don't need any of their information as part of me. Um, and sometimes I don't want to know information about people, but I get information about people. So I tend to keep myself more closed off unless it is requested. A few years ago I played on this app because someone questioned my abilities, and I played on this app and gave them that information. I didn't want to. It's just, it was funny, fun and games. But I don't normally do that because then the spirits also want to give you more information. There are a lot of spirits who are in a tormented state, and they want to resolve that tormented state, right? So they want to give information to the person, and I'm not willing to do that for people who don't pay me, because that I have to do so much. And I don't advertise that as a service. So most people don't even know it's I really it's people who are, they have to know somebody. They have to find me through somebody, which protects my spirit and my peace. Now, there are people who are spirit keepers and spirit trappers, and they work in their different beliefs to take spirits that are lost in transition and trap them and keep them from going to the next realm. And some of them work to use those spirits to do their biddings, because again, those spirits are tormented, and they go out and they do things that torment others. I am a warrior, but I'm also a protector. So I work to protect people from these other spirits and these other entities. I like that better because it allows me to use my anger effectively. So, because my anger is extremely powerful, if I get mad at someone, the spirits automatically charge and do things on my behalf, and I love it. But that is also why I work to control my anger. So I disassociate from people in order to not have these consequences, right? But I enjoyed that part more than keeping spirits. I have an ancestor who was a trapper and kept spirits and, used them for different purposes. And so I know about that, and I know, how to do that. But then I have to always have them with me. I'm not really a fan of that, not really a fan of always keeping them with me. That's too. I live a minimalist life. I don't want to have a room for the spirits. I don't have want to have a painting for the spirits. I don't want to have a jar for the spirits. I don't want to do that. So anyway, all this to say there's lots of different ancestors. There's levels to it. There's levels to shamanism, to psychic mediums, to regular mediums, and there's people who work in all these different aspects. There's people who simply work to identify the spirits, just to not interact with them, but just to really say they are there, but not to benefit anyone else. I prefer to benefit people. Um, you know, someone I was we were working on someone who was murdered, and that's beneficial, right? Working on a murdered situation, that was different versus just working on somebody you want to talk to because you want to know if so and so is sleeping with so and so. I don't do that. That's somebody else can do that. I'm not interested in your trivial things. You can find that information out without going through me. But a lost soul, that, yes. So anyway, all of this I wanted to say is that because of all these different levels of what people do and what people offer, you have to be careful. When you open yourself up to the spiritual world, you are opening yourself up for, not only you can see them, not necessarily like right here next to you, but you can feel them, but they are definitely aware of you. So that's why I have people who come to me and they say, people that I'm responsible for, they say, hey, will you ask so and so? I don't want them coming to me, but will you ask so and so? And I say, well, I have to decide if I want them coming to me, you know, again, for some of them. Um, I gotta decide if I want them coming to me, you know, because some of them are literally long-term purgatory. They hadn't even learned the lesson there. What I just go check on them. I go look and see, yep, but not dealing with the rest of it, right? So I, you know, have to walk in the earthly realm, and I don't need them showing up. when I'm doing my other things. So anyway, maybe this video was helpful. Maybe I did a little bit of rambling. Don't know, but I know to help at least one person.